What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Appreciate Greatness. We're in the dorm with it today. All we're doing today is predicting the NBA season. It starts in an hour and 15 minutes, so I'm a little late to getting this video out. I do apologize. I've been swamped. Sorry. I've been a little swamped as of late, and so yeah. I don't know if y'all know this. There's this place called EnjoyPredictions.com, and I was going to use that for standings. It's down, so I guess I'm going to have to make a graphic, and y'all know I'm not great at graphics. If you look at my thumbnails, not a great graphic maker. But that's the plan. Today I'm going to be predicting standings. I'm going to be predicting awards, and we're going to hop right into it. If you enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe because that does me well in the heart. The reason I make videos is because when I was growing up in high school, I'd go through some tough times, and I'd rely on YouTube and content creators to make me kind of feel better, make my day a little better. So my goal with these videos is to make one person's day a little better. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoy. Let's hop in. We're going to start in the West because it's the Wild West. It's going to take me a long time, I feel like, to get through everything. And I was going to make them live in front of y'all and give y'all my rationale, but I have it set already. So number one, I think, is the Thunder, running it back from last year, not adding anyone, not losing anyone. I guess you add Topic, but I don't think he's going to be anything special in the NBA regular season, or in this first NBA regular season, this first NBA playoffs. I do think Shea is going to take another leap. I don't think that last year was the tip top of what Shea is. The off the dribble three can improve. He can shoot more catch and shoot threes, which I think he did in the preseason, which really excites me. This dude is outrageous. He's one of the best guards we're ever going to see in our lifetime. Just one of the best pure scorers we'll ever see. And they won't have J-Dub for probably a month, if I had to guess. He was ruled out recently from this first game, but it's been quite some time now since the finals and since that surgery, and he just started shooting again. So I think he's going to be out for some time, but that does mean Chet is going to take a fun leap. We're going to see more of Cason Wallace, hopefully with the ball in his hands a little bit, and he's a great playmaker, fun shot creator. Not necessarily like elite at it, but I do think he can create for himself a little more than what people have seen. The 2 seed, I got the Rockets. Now, in the moment, I think I'm going to switch them with the Nuggets. So at the 2 seed, I got the Nuggets. You add Cam, Jonas, Bruce Brown, Julian Strawther, and Christian Brown and Peyton Watson. Those three are going to take a leap. And you add Cam, Jonas, and Bruce Brown, like I said. I could see this team getting the 1 seed, right? Especially depending on how Jamal plays. Yoke, we know how he's going to play. He's going to be unbelievable. And you add a guy like Cam Johnson who understands the game so well, shoots the ball so well with Jokic. I think that's big time for him. I do worry about the addition of Jonas, especially come playoff time. I do think it's going to work pretty well in the regular season because you don't just like attack other teams. You don't attack other teams' bigs the way you do in the playoffs, I guess what I'm trying to say, in the regular season. But I do think come playoff time, Jonas is going to struggle. Bruce Brown back with the Nuggets, a great cutter, can play a little point guard, and has the ball in his hands a lot more, and that's where he's comfortable with the Nuggets. So I do like those additions. And again, Jokic is going to be Jokic. The 3 seed, I have the Rockets. I do think losing Fred is going to hurt them big, but I hope that we see some Amin Thompson and Reed Shepherd jump as playmakers because KD playing without a point guard, we've seen it past couple of years, it doesn't go well. He needs a point guard to set the table, and he can be himself with a guy who can take that burden off of his shoulders of just, helping him set the table for the rest of the team. This team is such a good offensive rebounding team, defensive team. I don't think that losing Fred's going to hurt them a ton in the regular season anyway. I don't think not having a point guard playing on the court will hurt them much in the regular season anyway, just because of how much they crash the glass and just the playoff style basketball they play throughout the entirety of the year. The 4 seed, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have offensive firepower to carry them through the regular season, but the loss of Nah and not having a point guard other than Mike Conley, is he really a point guard? It kind of scares me come playoff time. It scares me in those close games. I think Ant might take a little mini playmaking jump, but I don't think it's going to be good enough for where we're comfortable with him at the 1. I do think he struggles with deciding whether he should shoot in the moment or whether he should pass in the moment. So I think that's the type of things that we need to see Ant improve on as the year goes on. I have them at the 4 seed. At the 5 seed, I have the Clippers. This is one of my favorite teams in basketball, man. They were last year. My last video was about Zubats and just how great he is. I don't know what the Kawhi situations. I still don't really know what's going on there. But I can see the unction really battling with some of these teams ahead, with the Wolves, with the Rockets, with the Nuggets, with the Thunder. I can see them really battling. They were a game away from possibly taking the Clippers to 7, or taking the Thunder to 7, and moving on to the Western Conference Finals, right? Like, you never know. But they were a game away from the second round last year after losing to the Nuggets, who took the Thunder to 7, who were the eventual champions, right? So, to me, all this team did was get better. They add Brad Beal. They add Chris Paul. You get rid of Norman Powell, who at the end of the day was probably more of a negative, especially come playoff time, than a positive, right? And so I think this Clips team has set themselves up for a really great chance this year. However, this year is probably the only chance they're really going to get. 6 seed, I have the Grizzlies, and it's hard not to have the Grizzlies a little higher even. I really think that KCP is going to fit them a lot better than Desmond Bane, and you just run everything through Ja and Triple J. I really like the idea of that. You have Zach Edey, you have Cedric Coward, you have Jalen Wells, Scottie Pippen Jr., like so many young pieces that I think can take a step this year. And I can almost see the Grizzlies, especially if they stay healthy with Ja and Jaren Jackson. I can see them having a chance and making a run at winning the conference. The 7 seed, the Mavs. I really like this Mavs team if they stay healthy. Big if. Kyrie obviously going to be out for a little bit, but Ryan Nembhard, the way he runs the offense, I would not be shocked to see him start 20 games before Kyrie gets back. I think AD can weather the storm if he stays healthy and win them some games. We saw in his first game last year as a Maverick what he can do. Coop is awesome. He's such a great connecting piece, connecting playmaker, 3-and-D guy who just kind of does it all. And so that's why I have the Mavs at 7. I'm really high on them as long as they stay healthy. At the 8th spot, we have the Lakers. This is a very tough team for me to understand. It's a very loaded conference. They don't have a lot of shooting. They don't have a lot of size that I really trust. I think they're very short on perimeter defense, and they're really just all over the place defensively at any kind. I don't think they have much defense of any kind, and losing Dorian Finney-Smith is going to be costly and huge for them. That's my biggest concern. Obviously, Luka is unbelievable, and I think he can carry a team to be higher than 8 seed, but with how compact, like you have to understand why I'm saying these numbers, right? This isn't like the Lakers are going to be behind the Mavericks by 3 games, right? They might be behind the Thunder by 3 games with how insane the West is. So it's very switchable. I could see it going many different ways, but to me, I have a lot more concerns with the Lakers than I do with most teams ahead of them, and that's why they fall in the 8th spot. At the 9th spot, maybe my hottest take is that I don't think the Warriors are going to be very great. Steph is great. However, outside of that, I really worry about that offense because I don't think Jimmy has what he used to. I don't think that he can, grift his way into making this team really, really great. They're going to have to grind out games. It's a loaded West, and I just think at some point, with like a little bit of luck, sure, they can be really good. With a little bit of bad luck, I could see them falling all the way down to like the 13 seed. I don't think that. I think Steph is really great. I don't think that there are teams this year, unless you have like even Luka, even Shea. I don't think that you can have one guy just really carry you to a playoff or carry you to a top 6 seed this year. I think you have to have multiple really great players, and to me, the Warriors are very short on that, and the really good depth they have is pretty old. You don't know what's going to come out of Kuminga. Al Horford is a great add, but we'll see what happens with him. Draymond's getting old, but he's still a really, really high-level defender. Jimmy's getting old, and he's shown in the playoffs that he's lost a step or 3. And Steph has lost a step, but he's still Steph. You know, so that's what really worries me is, like, you know, if Jimmy loses another step, yeesh, you know, if and then defensively even. I love Pods. I'm a very big Pods guy because of the effort he gives, especially defensively. But, you know, if he stays the same, they could be in some trouble, in my opinion. Number 10, I think the Pels are my 10. I want to have them higher because I am so bought in on the Pels because they have way too much talent to not at least make the play-in. That's why I have them at the 10. I think if they make the play-in, they're going to the playoffs. Because to me, that kind of shows me that they stayed a little healthy. I could see them getting as high as like the 5 seed. I love the addition of Jordan Poole. Based on the Zion health pattern, if you look at his years and games played, this is supposed to be a healthy year. And we've seen the hype, you know, he's supposed to be healthy this year. Trey Murphy taking another jump last year. Hopefully he takes another one this year. He's so fun to watch. Herb Jones is such an awesome player. DeJounte Murray, if he can stay healthy and get healthy, those guys are going to be very big-time contributors. And then you have Jeremiah Fears. You have Derek Queen off the bench if you want to throw those guys in and have them make an impact. And then Kevon Looney as a screener, just opening things up for guys like Jordan Poole, for Herb Jones, even Trey Murphy coming off the screen sometimes. I think that's such a big add for them. 11, I have the Suns. I think Book is going to get back into that score-first role a little bit just because there are other ball handlers now, like Jalen Green is going to probably handle the ball a good amount, I would see, or I can see. And so hopefully they don't force Devin Booker to just play the one, because that's not what makes him so great. But I really love what Dillon Brooks brings to teams, this physical, defensive, like, we're going to grind them down type of mentality. Rasheer Fleming looks like he's going to be so fun defensively this year. And then you add Malawach and Mark Williams into that, and I think you have a pretty solid team. Obviously, I have them at the 11th seed, but that does not mean that they can't make the playoffs, right? Again, loaded West. At 12, I have the Blazers. After the All-Star break last season, once DeAndre Ayton was gone and out, Donovan Clingan was in, and the Blazers became a top 5 defense in the NBA. And I can only expect that to continue with Clingan at the 5, one of the best, if not even already the best drop coverage big in the NBA, and Toumani Camara, who's one of the best pure all-around defenders, if not the best in the NBA. And then I'm expecting a Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson breakout. Adding Drew and Dame, I think, also helps things, especially Drew for this first half of the year. Hopefully Dame can come back. I've heard probably won't, but if he does, I just take away some pressure, help things out with Scoot, help things out with Shaedon. Drew taking away pressure as a ball handler from those two, I think it'll help a lot. And then Drew, obviously defensively, that team is scary defensively. 13, Spurs. I think Wemby is playing in playoff. I think Wemby's playoff ready. I don't think the rest of the team is. It's very young. I think you're going to see growing pains out of the guard Dylan Harper, even though, he looks very, very good in preseason. Carter Bryant is still a very raw guy. Steph Castle is still a very raw guy. Obviously, you have guys like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, but I still think that you need more talent in this West to be fully ready. And maybe next year with Dylan Harper with a year under his belt, Steph Castle being in year 3, and Carter Bryant with a year under his belt, that this team can make the playoffs, make the play-in. But this year, it's insane out in the West. The Kings are my 14. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know. That's all. I love some of their pieces though. Keon Ellis, Nick Clifford. There's another one. I love Russ, but he is what he is at this point. And then at 15, I have the Jazz. Ish. To the East now, we have the fully healthy Cavs. I think Emo's going to take another jump. I think he could become a top 10 player this year because of what he does defensively. And I think that just all around this Cavs team, especially with the addition of Lonzo, it's a very scary team. I think what's fun about Lonzo is he's not the level of defender he was before he went down, but he's still a pretty high-level defender. And it could be really fun seeing them run him at the 3, run him at the 2. I don't think you're pressured now to play Darius Garland alongside Donovan Mitchell as much. I do think Donovan Mitchell hurts them, so I think you can go Darius Garland and Lonzo, and you'll be just fine. Come playoff time, that is. Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs, teams love letting him score because he doesn't pass. But that's a whole other conversation. At the 2 seed, the Knicks. I think the Knicks are built to dominate the regular season. I think it's going to be a really, really close race with the Cavs. I lean on the firepower of the Cavs on both ends compared to just straight, Jalen Brunson and Cat offensively. Obviously, you have OG and McHale and Jordan Clarkson off the bench. I wish that Malcolm Brogdon hadn't retired because that would be a really fun addition off the bench as well for the Knicks. I'm trying to go faster, so I'm sorry if you have a favorite team in the East and you're just kind of getting glazed over. The Magic at 3. Desmond Bane's going to help this team to levels that are almost not explainable. Like just giving them some spacing. But I still have Paolo concerns. I think he doesn't read the floor well, and he's a little selfish at times. Just to take these mid-range shots that aren't there. There was a clip in the preseason that really showed me that not much has changed where I think it was Desmond Bane in the corner. Jace Richardson comes off the screen, gets it to Paolo in a short roll. If Paolo catches and just pops it out, like that's an improvement from what he normally does. He catches, takes a dribble, half spin, one-legged, and that's not the shot. It's not the shot. Paolo can make it, but it's not the shot. We need to see him really improve as a playmaker before I can really say, like, this Magic team is going to do it, Jace Richardson is such a great pickup for them. I need to see Franz finally make a 3. I don't know what happened to him. The shot doctors, man, I don't know what they were doing with him. Moving on. 4 seed, Hawks, man. Trae Young finally has a high-level rim protector, insane wings, and some defense. And I just think that this Trae is such an engine. He's such a great offensive engine. He's always going to be in the lead of a top offense, and you have so much defense around him this year that it gives him a great chance to just be him offensively. And he's played so hard defensively for the past couple of years that he might even be able to slow up a little bit in that. And obviously he's never going to be a good defender because of how short, how small, how unathletic he is. But, when you have the pieces they do around him, it makes things easier for him, and it'll make things easier for him offensively. I think Jalen Johnson is going to take an All-NBA leap this year. I think he might win MIP even after averaging 20, 10, and 5, I think that's the type of guy we're dealing with in Jalen Johnson. Moving to the 5, I have the Pistons. Cade is awesome. They're full of lengthy, explosive athletes. I do hate that they lost Malik Beasley. I hate that, for now, he might sign with them for the minimum again or something. I don't know what's going to happen. THJ, not having him is going to hurt a little bit. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen with Jaden Ivey's role this year. I'm excited to see how they're going to play him, what his role is going to be. But yeah, I think the Pistons are overall pretty solid team defensively and offensively. At 6, I have the 76ers, and this is a team that's very hard to judge because even if Joel Embiid plays like 60% of what he was as an MVP, it's too much for them to like fall into the play-in because it just makes them that good. Jared McCain coming back healthy, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe. It's just a lot of talent that I think fits pretty well together. I'm really excited to watch Jared McCain, even with the thumb thing he's got going on. I haven't seen or heard what the word is with him there, but once he's back healthy, I'm so excited to watch him. At 7, I have the Pacers. It's going to be a difficult season for them. No Tyrese, Miles Turner leaving. It's going to be rough, but if there's any team that could do it, it's this Pacers team, man. I think they have guys who can upscale well, very, very, very well, in Andrew Nembhard, in more of a playmaker role. He did that in college at Gonzaga, where he was the one, and I think that him as a one might even make him play just all around better, not defensively obviously because he's taking more of a role offensively, but I do think that offensively he's going to take a jump. And the Jay Huff with starting minutes is so exciting to me because holy cow, he's so good. He's so good. I can't wait to see him in an upscaled role. Ben Mathurin is also a breakout candidate, but who knows? Dude can only score, so I don't know how much he can actually break out. At 8, I have the Celtics. I have the C's here because I think Derek White has the capabilities to be a number 2. I don't love Jaylen Brown leading a team, but when you have Anthony and Derek at the 1 and the 2, I think that it does take a load off of Jaylen Brown, at least enough for him to be the guy. And then the center position is really scary. I have no idea what they're going to do there. But I do have them at the 8 seed. 9 seed, I have the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo. At the 10 seed, I have the Heat. I think the Heat have enough to make the play-in. Davion Mitchell hopefully can take another jump in this system. Kel'el Ware looks outrageous. Oh my gosh, dude. He looks like Wemby, almost on steroids even. He was hitting walk-back threes in the preseason. For a 7'1", 7'2" guy, it's outrageous. But also Bam and Tyler, as Jimmy Butler says. And then the best coach in the NBA, I think they're going to sneak into the play-in. At the 11th spot, I have the Raptors. They're such a weird put-together team. Don't love Jakob being your starting center and just having all this defensive burden on his shoulders. I don't love BI, but especially beside RJ Barrett, who is the worst high-volume player in the NBA. IQ, I don't have a ton of faith in as a PG. It's just, I don't know. It's not enough. They have talent. It's just not enough for me to be super excited about. And then Scotty in a weird space team. It's such an interesting built roster, and I don't have a lot of faith in them. But I do think they're good enough to fight for the play-in. At the 12s, I have the Hornets, who added a lot of young talent. Hopefully Brandon Miller takes a jump. Hopefully LaMelo stays healthy. And I love the center rotation of Diabate and Kalkbrenner, believe it or not, especially defensively. I don't think they're going to be super, super good, but I trust them to be solid. And that's kind of how I feel like the Hornets are. I don't think they're going to be super, super good, but I trust them to be solid. I think there are going to be a lot of times where you as a Hornets fan, you look at this game at a game and you're like, wow, Konkinepo was our best player today. I think that's going to happen a lot more than people think, just because of how great of a connector he is. At the 13th spot, I have the Bulls. There's not a ton to be excited about here outside of Modest. They might have to trade Kobe White this year, the Josh Giddey stuff. Yeesh. Yeah, moving on. 14, the Wizards. I love this young core. I love Bob. I love Trey Johnson. Alex Sarr. Will Riley is okay. I'm missing a guy that I really love. But I hope they continue to develop this year. And then the 15, the Nets. What a weird team. A lot of rookies. It should be fun to actually like genuinely watch them a little bit. But that's the standings. We're 25 minutes in. I'm going to try and fly through these awards. Coach of the Year, Quinn Snyder, with the Hawks taking the jump. With them, hopefully they can finish like top 10 in defense, and that's Quinn Snyder's defense. I have him at Coach of the Year. I have Rick Carlisle in second because of the attention he got in the finals. That's normally how it works. I think that most people are late in seeing who the Coach of the Year should be. Like, they're a year late. Like, when Daignault won it, I think he should have won it the year before for how well they beat the what they were supposed to beat, right? But Carlisle, I think they're going to do that same exact thing, and with him having the attention of coming off the NBA Finals, I have them there. And then Charles Lee, I just threw him in here because I want to talk about the culture he's building. I think it's very, very good. I didn't even talk about Colin Sexton with them, but Colin Sexton being at the rookies signing and just all these different things, I think it's a great culture that he's building out there in Charlotte. Clutch Player of the Year, I have Ant, Jalen Brunson, and Trae Young. Just kind of three guesses. Ant played a lot of close games last year. I don't see that changing much in the West. Jalen Brunson is just one of the best clutch players ever. And then Trae Young, Ice Trae, throw him on there. Sixth Man of the Year, DeAndre Hunter is my pick. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and then Dorian Finney-Smith with the Rockets. Talking about Dorian, he just fits that team so perfectly. I think he's just going to be this perfect glue guy. That's why I have him third. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, same thing, really. All these guys, same thing. But Nickeil, very great glue guy, very good defender, can knock in threes. He'll probably start some, be off the bench some. Just an exciting guy who can really, I mean, if Dyson, Reese Shea, or Jalen Johnson go down, he can fill that gap. And then DeAndre Hunter, I think he's going to have a lot more of a scoring role off the bench this year with Lonzo coming in, and they're not going to really try and force him into that starting spot since they can throw Max Strus or Lonzo into three and then let DeAndre be him off the bench. MIP, I have Scoot, Andrew Nembhard, and Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson, like I mentioned, I think he's going to take another step. The numbers, I don't think are going to reflect the step he takes enough to where he's just the surefire MIP. Andrew Nembhard, obviously upscaling an opportunity, but I also think that he is a candidate to actually get better because of how much more comfortable he is on the ball. And then Scoot Henderson, I just want to see it, man. I want him to be so good. Rookie of the Year, Neek Clifford is my 3. Cooper Flagg is my 2. Trey Johnson is my pick. I think Trey Johnson has a lot of opportunity to be a pure scorer and kind of be the guy on this Wizards team, which is normally how the Rookie of the Year is awarded. Coop is just going to be such an awesome connecting piece. And then Neek Clifford's kind of the same thing, just an awesome connecting piece, but hopefully he gets a little more opportunity than Coop. DPOY, this is really easy. Wemby, probably the best defender once it's all said and done we've ever seen. Chet, generational defender. Mobley, generational defender. I don't think there's much debate about those 3. And then MVP, I have Shea getting back-to-back. That's kind of the pattern of what we've seen in the NBA. J-Dub's hurt coming into the season, so I don't see much help from year one Topic. And so I think that Shea is just going to blast onto the scene. Like tonight, I have him going for like 45. Like I think this dude is going to score at levels that we haven't seen to start the year. And then once J-Dub comes back, we'll see him, passing a little better. I mean, in the preseason, in that Game 7 of the finals, just seeing how he was passing to the interior, which is one of his biggest weaknesses, it really, really gave me like this guy still has some room to grow, and it looks like he's trying to. My 2 is Giannis. The Bucks suck. Giannis is insane. I think he's good enough to propel them into a play-in, playoff area. Gives me like 2017 Russ vibes, just the roster and the way Giannis plays and how good he is. And then Jokic there's my 3. Cam Johnson makes us a new team. Yoke makes him even more scary. I do think that the Nuggets are going to be a little lighter on Jokic's workload this year with Jonas, though. Just having a guy that can come in and play and set screens and rebound, like, I think you can run Jamal Murray lineups with Jokic off and be okay with that. So that is my NBA season predictions. I'm a little sick too, so I've been fighting for my life over here. But I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. Peace.